And we're live. What's going on, everybody? Tampa Bay, Columbus tonight in a kind of a unannounced surprise stream. Obviously, the big game this week is the Stadium Series game on Saturday, and I'm hopefully going to be live streaming during that game. But tonight we have Tampa Bay and Columbus. Should be a really good game. And Columbus is one of those teams in the Metro Division that's really fighting for a spot in the playoffs. They're showing the standings now. They're 2 points behind Washington, tied with Pittsburgh. Carolina's only a point behind. I mean, it's really tight in the Metro Division right now. And Tampa Bay, as we all probably know, is just running away with the league. But this is a big game for the Blue Jackets because that Metro Division is really tight from really 2 through 5. They are all right on top of each other. So the regular beginning message in there. What's going on? Hey, Brendan, going to the game tomorrow? That's awesome. Congratulations. That's really cool. So this game should be get going in about, I don't know, probably less than 10 minutes now before puck drop. They're talking about Columbus's first line. Columbus's first line is something else with Panarin, Dubois, and Atkinson. Atkinson's having a career year. Dubois is having a career year. Panarin he's Artemi Panarin. He's unbelievable. We'll see if Columbus keeps him at the trade deadline or if they trade. I think they're going to keep him. I don't see them completely giving up on this season and trading Artemi Panarin at the deadline, especially when he said that they do still have a chance to sign him in the offseason. I don't think they're his top choice, so I don't know what the odds are of him re-signing in Columbus. I'd say he probably leaves after this season, which would lean you towards trading him at the deadline and getting a lot in return for him. But I don't know. I don't see it. If Columbus were to trade Artemi Panarin, they would basically be giving up on this season, and I think they're too good to do that. They are a clear playoff team in my mind, and a team that could make a run. Depending on what their matchup is in the first round, that could be a team that kind of surprises people and makes a run. Especially if their goaltending gets hot, then that we could see some surprises there. So I don't know. Trade deadline is on Monday, February 25th, which is next Monday, this coming Monday, a week from today, actually. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with Columbus because they have Bobrovsky and Panarin UFAs at the end of this season. What's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. So, yeah, all right. We got 2 Rangers fans in here. Yeah, the Rangers aren't good, but the Rangers are a team that are going to have an interesting trade deadline because they're going to be unloading contracts. Matt Zuccarello gone. Kevin Hayes will probably be gone. Adam McQuaid will be gone. I think we're going to see the Rangers selling at the trade deadline. And any veteran player with value is going to get moved at the deadline for the Rangers because they're in full rebuild mode at this point. They want to acquire young assets and draft picks. Yeah, Crosby is a girl in the house. What's going on, man? Capitals firmly in second place in the Metro Division. That's looking good for the Caps so far. They had that really rough stretch before the All-Star break, but they've seemed to be back to being the normal Capitals after that. So, that's another team gearing up for the playoffs. We'll see if they make any additions at the trade deadline, or if the Caps are a team that kind of just holds it with what they have and goes into it. I mean, they won the Cup last year. They have the veteran experience. They have the playoff experience. They could be a team that just kind of holds pat where they are and sees if they can make a run or not in the playoffs. So this stream tonight, the main reason I'm doing this stream tonight is because I finally get some new teams. I feel like I've been streaming the same teams, this year. It's always been Pittsburgh. It's always been Washington. It's always been Boston. It's always been, Toronto, teams like that. Finally getting a chance to do a Lightning game, which I think I might have done one Lightning game early in the season. I don't remember if I did or not. But if I have, it's only been one Lightning game, and they're the best team in the league. And this is actually my first time watching Columbus this season. I've obviously seen lots of highlights. I've paid attention to the standings, but I haven't actually watched a full Columbus Blue Jackets game this season. So I'm interested to see them and see what they look like, because they've had a pretty good year so far, and there's been some ups and downs, but overall it's been a good year for Columbus. So it's going to be interesting to see what they look like against a top team like Tampa Bay. Get my drink over here. Get ready for this game. Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of Columbus this year. Hey, RMC, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. Hopefully that Mountain Dew will keep me awake for this game. Yeah, Boston doesn't have the cap to... Well, that's not necessarily true, because if Boston trades for Panarin, there's going to be a lot going the other way to Columbus, which probably would make cap room. But I don't think Columbus goes for Panarin. I don't think Boston goes for Panarin. That's not. I don't see that happening. I honestly don't think Boston should really do much. I don't see them winning the Cup this year, so there's no reason to give up young assets and draft picks for a rental player that they're not. What are they going to do? Make it to the second round of the playoffs and then lose to Tampa Bay again? I mean, there's no point in giving up, young prospects and draft picks for that. Boston should just hold pat with what they have and see what they can do. If they play Toronto in the first round, they're gonna beat Toronto. They're just gonna absolutely literally beat up Toronto, and that will be a 6-game first round series, and then they'll lose to Tampa in the second round. And there's no rental player the Bruins can get that's gonna change that in my mind. I'm definitely not a Maple Leafs fan, given that they're one of Boston's biggest rivals, especially right now, where Montreal's right there too, but that three-way triangle between Boston, Toronto, and Montreal is really, really nice right now, and there's a lot of hatred between those teams, and they're all very close in the standings. There's going to be playoff matchups between at least two of those teams. It's going to be a lot of fun, but no, I am definitely not a Leafs fan. Yes, Columbus is starting Korpisalo tonight. Pasternak's the top line winger. So yeah, no, Panarin would probably play with Krejci. No, I have not watched any AAF yet. I don't know. I guess I've been doing other things, so I haven't. I've just been busy doing other stuff. I haven't watched any AAF stuff yet, but I've heard a ton about it. Obviously. Oh, it's all good. RMC. All fans of all teams are welcome here. There's no fans that are not allowed here. Whatever team you root for, that's fantastic for you, and wish you the best of luck. Interesting. Tampa's kind of a random team to be your second favorite team, but hey, they're really freaking good, so not surprised. Hey, Ninja, what's going on? So, game started. I kind of forgot to mention that here. Obviously, it just started. Nothing's happened yet, but Columbus is just exiting their zone here. This is a nice little break. Oh, nice little break there for Columbus, and a save by nice save. Is that no? That is Vasilevsky. Vasilevsky's in net for Tampa Bay tonight. Yeah, he went right by Victor Hedman. You don't see Victor Hedman get burned like that too often. Yeah, true fire strike. There are a ton of ex-Rangers on the Tampa Bay Lightning. I mean, there have been so many trades between Tampa Bay and New York over the last few years. Oh, nice break here for the Lightning, and great defensive play by Columbus's defenseman. I didn't get a chance to see who that was for Columbus, but that was a great defensive play. And now they come back the other way, but can't contain the puck. Here comes Tampa Bay back in 3-on-2. And JT Miller just loses the puck there. Got to get a shot on goal in that situation. And good back check, though. Now we're just we got back and forth hockey going on here. Josh Anderson just shot it wide. I think Tampa Bay is probably going to win this game, but we'll see. But I would say Tampa probably wins. Like maybe 4-2, something like that. Yeah, there are literally a ton of ex-New York Rangers on this Lightning team. It's kind of ridiculous how many ex-Rangers are on this team. There's got to be like 6 or 7 of them. Oh, that was a huge hit. Josh Anderson just absolutely decked somebody from behind. I don't remember. I didn't see who it was for Tampa Bay. Absolutely decked him into the boards, face first. And oh, it wasn't from behind. It was Tyler Johnson, and it wasn't from behind. He hit him straight on. Johnson just turned as he got hit. I don't even know why that was a penalty. They called interference, so maybe Johnson didn't have the puck. But it definitely wasn't from behind. Johnson just got absolutely manhandled. I already did my video on the Hurricanes post-game celebrations back when Brian Burke was whining about it. So if you want like my full in-depth explanation of Carolina's, or like my opinion on Carolina's celebrations, you can just search my channel for Carolina Hurricanes and it will come up. It will be one of the first videos that comes up. But I have no problem with it. It doesn't hurt anybody. It's fun. I have no problem with it. I'm definitely. I mean, it's not like I go out of my way, and it's not my favorite thing. But I'm not like one of these people who are just constantly whining and complaining about it, talking about how stupid it is. I, I I'm perfectly fine with it. No real strong opinion either way. Yeah, very very lucky that hit the crossbar there for Columbus. That would have been should have been a goal for Tampa Bay, but just rang off the top of the crossbar. God, Kucherov is so good with the puck. It is he's unbelievable to watch. He is so good with the puck on his stick. Well, I mean, my opinion hasn't changed all year on the Carolina thing. It's still the same. I'm fine with it. I have no strong feelings either way. Well, I don't think doing post-game celebrations are gonna somehow get Carolina fans. I mean, it's not like somebody who's not watching hockey. Um, it's not like someone who doesn't like hockey and isn't watching hockey is just going to start watching hockey because Carolina does some post-game celebration. I mean, it's that they're not adding new fans by doing that. What adds new fans is winning games and making the playoffs, which they haven't done since 2009. So they might want to make the playoffs if they want to add fans. And they're 1 point out right now. They have a chance to make it this year. They probably should be trying to make it this year. No, no, I don't think I have. I think the only Carolina game I've seen this year was when they were in Arizona. I saw them play in Arizona, but I don't think I've seen. Yeah, no, Carolina's attendance is horrible. Florida's attendance is horrible. There's a few teams that are just in really, really bad shape as far as attendance and just fan support. And I wouldn't be surprised if, Arizona's another one. I wouldn't be surprised if in the future Carolina gets moved. I wouldn't be surprised if Florida gets moved. I wouldn't be surprised if Arizona gets moved. Arizona might be the next one to get moved because they're getting moved to the Central Division in 2020 when Seattle enters the league. And with them in Arizona, that's not exactly geographically the best spot for a Central Division team. And we have a big city in Houston who is just waiting for an NHL team with a huge TV market, a huge fan base, a huge natural rivalry with Dallas. Houston is going to be the next spot to get an NHL team, obviously with Seattle getting one now. Houston will be the next one, and I think it might not be an expansion team. It will be a relocated team, probably Arizona to Houston. That's my bet, but that would probably be down the road like 2021, 2022, somewhere around there. Yeah, no, absolutely. The New York Islanders belong on Long Island. They should not be at Barclays Center. Barclays is a horrible spot for hockey. They don't belong there. They should have never gone there in the first place. That was a huge mistake by the NHL. They're building the whole new arena at Belmont Park. That will be ready in a few years, but until that is ready, the Islanders should be back at Nassau Coliseum all the time. They should not be playing any games at Barclays Center. Nassau should be their home. until Belmont Park is ready. Oh, trade news. Cool. What is it, Firestrike? What is the trade news? Let me hop on Twitter here real quick. Oh, that's not much of a trade. Never mind. Yeah, no, that's a minor league deal. That's not even going to get a video on here. That's an AHL move right there. Peter Holland for Darren Radish. I don't know how you say that, but no problem. You probably just saw, hey, Rangers trade and thought it would be big, but yeah, that was a minor deal. AHL defenseman to the Rangers for Peter Holland, the AHL forward. Yeah, that's not a important deal. Interesting. That's an interesting deal. I wonder what brought that about. That's usually this is the time of year that you get big trades. That a small minor league deal like that usually doesn't happen this time of year. Yeah, no, but Barclays Center might be the worst arena in the NHL for hockey. If it's not, it's definitely top 3, but it might be the worst. That place is horrible. So, how did Columbus not score there? Bad turnover by Tampa Bay in the defensive zone. Grade A opportunity for Columbus, and they can't score. You have to capitalize on opportunities like that if you're going to beat the Tampa Bay Lightning, because they're not going to give you a ton of them. But Columbus is still on the attack here in the offensive zone. Now Tampa gets it out. I cannot believe that Columbus didn't just score there. But anyway, it's still 0-0. About 8 minutes into the game here, and just not a whole lot going on in this game to this point. That was a good hit on Braden Coburn. Here comes Columbus. So Columbus has had a good last couple of minutes here. They're on the attack. They've got possession of the puck. And they're forechecking hard. They're controlling play. It's been a good couple of minutes for the Blue Jackets here. Oh, here comes Kucherov. I can't control the puck. So, kind of just some neutral zone play here. And Tampa Bay ices it with 10:53 left in the first period. That is the last thing that the Bruins should be doing right now. Offseason, not with the Bruins. Why would you give up young assets or first round draft pick plus a young prospect for a guy who's going to be on the team for 2 months and is not good enough to make the Bruins a Stanley Cup contender? They're not going to beat Tampa Bay with or without Wayne Simmons. So the Bruins already, have a power forward type in David Backes, and he's been an absolute disaster. He's been awful. Yeah, I really hope that the Bruins don't get Simmons. That's not the kind of move that they need to make. Barkov's goal was sick. The sickest thing about it is that he, pulled that off in a game. But I think that move itself is overrated. I think the fact that he pulled it off in a game is what makes it so sick. But like everyone who's played hockey for any length of time can do that between the legs with and flip up with the stick move. Like I can do that. I started doing that when I was like 10 years old. Like everyone knows how to do that. Just the thing that made it so ridiculous was that he did it in a game. Because you never try stuff like that in a game. I mean, that's just absurd. So it was an absolutely sick goal from Barkov. Yeah, Simmons is like 4 years younger than Backes. I think Simmons is 30 and Backes is 34. But no, Simmons is way, way, way better than David Backes at this point. But my point is that the Bruins already have, they went out a few summers ago now. I think 3 summers ago was when they signed Backes. They got that power forward, big, physical, powerful type player, and he's been an absolute disaster. His offense has completely gone away. He's not even that physical anymore. He's been injured a ton. He's been a healthy scratch at times this season. It's been an absolute disaster. So now why would you give up a young prospect and a first-round pick, which is probably going to be the asking price for Simmons, to go get the exact same type of player, and you're only going to have him for a couple of months, and you're going to be out in the second round of the playoffs anyway, so it doesn't make any sense. You wouldn't give that up unless you're going to win the Stanley Cup, and Boston is not going to win the Stanley Cup this year. I'm telling you already, it's going to be a repeat of last year. Boston is going to beat Toronto in the first round, probably in 6 games this time. I don't think it will go 7. They'll do it in 6 games this time, and then they're going to lose to Tampa Bay in the second round again. And it doesn't. I don't think there's any one player on the trade market that makes me think Boston can beat Tampa. There's nobody that Boston's going to add this year that makes me go, oh, now that puts them over the top. They're not a Stanley Cup team. They're a very good team. They're not a great team. No, Toronto's defense is an absolute joke. And they're the softest team in the NHL, which means they're going to get the absolute shit kicked out of them in the playoffs. Much like Boston all season long has abused Toronto physically, which is why Boston won 3 out of the 4 games against the Maple Leafs and blew them out both games in Boston. The Bruins just blew them out of the building, and that's what's going to happen in the playoffs. Toronto is way too soft. The ridiculous goal right there from Nikita Kucherov, 1-0 Tampa Bay. What a ridiculous, that was a sick goal from Kucherov there. Yeah, when Nazem Kadri is your toughest player, you have a lot of problems. Toronto, I mean, Mitch Marner gets physically abused every time he plays the Bruins. Austin Matthews doesn't even show up when they play the Bruins most of the time. Their star players just get absolutely manhandled. Their star players get manhandled, and as we saw, no, Rob, you came in at a good time. We're just shitting on the Toronto Maple Leafs and how soft they are and how bad their defense is, and why they're going to be out in the first round again this year, which will make the 3rd year in a row that the Toronto Maple Leafs will be out in the first round. Because they're not nearly physical enough to play in the Stanley Cup playoffs. I mean, look at the teams that went deep into the playoffs last year. Winnipeg is an absolute beast physically. That whole team is just beasts physically. You had Vegas with Ryan Reeves, Derek England. And those are the big tough guys, but then you've got other, Braden McNabb, Colin Miller can play physically. Up front, you have Belmar, you have other physical guys. In the East, you have Washington with Tom Wilson and, Brooks Orpik on the back end and Devontae Smith-Pelly, TJ Oshie. Ovechkin's a physical player. And then you had Tampa Bay with their, Rock'em Sock'em fourth line last year with Kunitz, Callahan, and Paquette. They have Braden Coburn on the back end. Tampa Bay is a pretty physical team, even though they're highly skilled as well. Toronto is going to get manhandled by any of those teams. Yeah, no, Pittsburgh might not even make the playoffs this year. How are the Caps physical? Alex Ovechkin, one of the most physical star players in the league. Devontae Smith-Pelly, TJ Oshie is a physical star player. Tom Wilson is one of the most old school physical players left in the NHL. They have Brooks Orpik on the back end. They have Matt Niskanen on the back end. The Capitals are a very physical team. They're a very heavy team too. Aaron, have you checked the standings lately? Toronto. We've been talking about the Maple Leafs way too much. The Carolina Hurricanes are 1 point behind the Pittsburgh Penguins from knocking them out of the playoff spot. So it's definitely not a foregone conclusion that the Penguins make the playoffs. I think they probably do, but 1 point. They are in the playoffs by 1 point right now. And Carolina is absolutely on fire. I'll come to your party if the Penguins miss the playoffs. I'd be cool with that. I'm down. Wow, Columbus has put a nice little 6-game stretch together, 5-1 in their last 6 games. Again, this is my first time seeing Columbus play a full game this year, so I've obviously been keeping up with the standings, but I haven't gotten to see them, and I feel like Columbus is a sneaky good team this year. Oh, that was a nice hit there. The Hurricanes desperately need to make the playoffs. They haven't made the playoffs since 2009. It's the longest active streak in the NHL. They have got to get in the playoffs if they want any sort of fans, which they already don't have. But yeah, Columbus could be a sneaky good team going into the playoffs. They're a heavy team. Obviously, they play John Tortorella hockey. They're a good defensive team. I definitely think that Columbus could be a team that steals around in the playoffs. My 5 favorite teams. Well, Boston's number 1. I've been a whole Bruins fan my whole life. Oh, how did they not score there? Columbus once again cannot score a goal. They were right there net front, and they could not get that into the net. They've got to score a goal here. So 5 favorite teams. You have Boston obviously number 1. After that, it's really hard to rank it. I'm a huge Winnipeg Jets fan. I love Winnipeg. I rode the Vegas train really hard last year. I loved Vegas. Not so much this year. It's not their first year anymore, so I've kind of, they're not one of my. I don't not like Vegas, but I haven't been riding the train like I did last year. That was just because they were a new team. So I'd say as far as favorite teams go, Boston's number one. I'd say Winnipeg's probably number two at this point. Number three. Number three's got to be Nashville, even though they're obviously big time rivals with Winnipeg. I really like Nashville. I love Peter Laviolette. Kucherov just scored again. That was ridiculous. No, Philly's not even going to make the playoffs. So I like Boston. I like Winnipeg. I like Nashville. After that, those are my top. Vegas is not bad. They're easily in a playoff spot. What do you mean Vegas is bad? You bet, Aaron. You need to check the standings and see where teams are at. Vegas is still very good. Philadelphia still sucks. They're not good now. They're well out of a playoff spot, and they're not. Philly is not making the playoffs. Those are my big three. After that, I don't really know. Yes, Anaheim is bad. Anaheim is absolutely atrocious. They might be the worst team in the league right now. I know Ottawa is overall, but I think if you just look at the last few weeks, I think Anaheim's probably been the worst team in the league overall in that time span. Philly still isn't saved. They're not going to make the playoffs. Who? San Jose, Calgary, Vegas, all easily in the Arizona. Oh, no. Vegas isn't cup good this year. No chance. They're still a good team. Yeah, Ottawa is a joke. Ottawa is really bad. Yeah, are there still Arizona fans? I didn't know that there were any left. Hey, who knows? Yeah, Arizona does have a few fans. I have seen a couple of Arizona's games this year, and there were people in the arena. So, I mean, it certainly wasn't full, but there were people in the arena. Yeah, Buffalo died. I was wrong about them. I got so excited about the Sabres at the beginning of the season. And when they had that 10-game win streak, I was like, oh my God, the Sabres are back. We finally have a relevant team in Buffalo. And then they died. And Buffalo has zero chance of making the playoffs at this point. I'm sorry, I can't. I'm not really keeping up all that well in the chat, and I apologize for that. There's a lot going on here. I'm gonna tell you guys right now who I think, based on where we're at, right playoffs and where. Okay, so because I see a lot of people throwing teams out there and throwing rankings out there and stuff. This is who I think is going to make the playoffs in the Atlantic Division. It's gonna be Tampa Bay number 1, Toronto number 2, Boston number 3, Montreal number 4. Those 4 teams make the playoffs. In the Metro Division, it's going to be the Islanders number 1, Washington number 2, Columbus number 3, Pittsburgh number. I'll give it to Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh gets in at number 4, and they all make the playoffs. Carolina is the first team out, which sucks for them, but that's what's going to happen. And then, so that will be your Eastern Conference. And then out West, you're going to have in the Central, Winnipeg number 1 in the Central, Nashville number 2, St. Louis number 3, Dallas number 4, Colorado. That's a tough one. 5 teams from the Central are getting in because the Pacific blows. 5 teams from the Central are getting in. It's going to come down, that last spot is going to come down to Colorado or Minnesota. Minnesota's played like shit lately, especially at home. Colorado's played like shit for the past 2 months. So one of those teams is somehow going to get in. Probably just because the Pacific blows, but I'm not sure which of those are going to get in. You know what? Colorado's been so bad for a while now. Minnesota's just starting to get bad. I think Colorado turns it around. Nathan McKinnon puts the team on his back like he did last year, and Colorado sneaks into the last playoff spot. Minnesota misses. Bruce Boudreau gets fired, and they blow that team up in Minnesota. And then in the Pacific, only 3 teams get in. It's Calgary, San Jose, and Vegas. Those are your 3 teams. No, Vancouver's going to miss. Vancouver's going to miss. They're going to be the first team out. Vancouver's going to be the first team out. They're going to get the Hurricanes treatment, but in the West. That's my opinion. They're missing that little bit in Vancouver. I think it's going to be a very disappointing miss for them. But that's what's going to happen. No, the Hawks are not making the playoffs. They suck. Yeah, Minnesota is going to they are going to the dumpster. That is a team down the dumpster for sure. Minnesota's in big trouble. I think Colorado comes back, has a strong last month of the season. Maybe, Colorado is a team that could really benefit from a nice trade deadline move for secondary scoring. If they can get a secondary scorer at the trade deadline, then watch out. That's a team that could really pick it up and go on a nice run into the playoffs. See, no, I think Robin Lehner absolutely I think Lehner absolutely could re-sign with the Islanders, and I think the Islanders would want him given how great he's played this year. So I do think that there could be another contract there in New York for Robin Lehner, and I think it would probably be good for him to stay in New York, and that's obviously worked out really well for both sides. So I think that could be really good. Yes, Ottawa is an absolute abomination. They are the worst team. And get this, they're probably going to trade Duchesne and Mark Stone at the deadline this year, meaning there goes probably their 2 best, there goes their 2 best forwards for the rest of this season gone. Look, think of how bad the Senators are going to be after the trade deadline with Duchesne and Stone gone. That team might not win a game. Now, that's an exaggeration, of course, but that team might not win a game. I mean, they are going to be awful. Why would Stone stay? He's on a 1-year deal that's up at the end of this year. They're not going to re-sign him because he wants so much. They're not looking to spend money. He's going to want to go to a team that's going to make the playoffs at some point in the next 5 years, and Ottawa is not making the playoffs in the next 5 years. So I don't see either of them staying. Oof. I don't know. That's a tough one. That Oilers team was really bad, but there have been a lot of bad Oilers teams over the past 10 years, 15 years now actually. But I think I would go with the Senators on that one. I think this year's Senators are one of the worst teams in recent NHL memory. It's interesting you say Duchesne to Winnipeg because I very much see that as a possibility, without a doubt. Without a doubt, I could see that because Winnipeg, they're really only weakness, the only area that I look at Winnipeg and go, they need help, is second line center. They need a second line center like they brought in Paul Stastny at the deadline last year, but then he left in free agency in the offseason. They need a second-line center. Matt Duchene would be a great add for the Winnipeg Jets in that second-line role, and I very much could see that happening. So we're coming down to the last 20 seconds of the period here. It is Nikita Kucherov 2, Columbus Blue Jackets nothing. I'm still very hard on the Nikita Kucherov for MVP train, without a doubt, and he's shown why in this period. 2 very nice goals for the Lightning, and Columbus had a good number of chances that they absolutely could not capitalize on. And another one there, Vasilevsky on a deflected puck makes a ridiculous pad save. I don't know how he stopped that either. But Columbus has a big 0 on the board. I just completely lost my train of thought. Sorry about that. Columbus has a big 0 on the board. Tampa Bay's got 2 as we head into the intermission. 2-0. Tampa Bay. Really Kucherov. That's the end of the first period. Hang on here, guys. I'm going to move the computer to give it a chance to cool off. Put it on my lap instead of on that blanket that just holds all the heat in. No, the Ducks are probably going to trade Silverberg. He's one of the top trade guys on the Ducks that they're going to move, because I believe he's on an expiring contract, I think. So he's gonna be gone. The Ducks are going into full rebuild mode. I mean, that team is done. That team is D-O-N-E done. They might. Montour's a guy that would fetch you a lot in return. I think Arizona will probably relocate in the next decade. See, Brandon Montour is still young and a highly skilled offensive defenseman. So I definitely think, if they were to trade Montour, they would get a ton in return for him. Yeah, but Arizona's moving to the Central Division. It doesn't make sense for a team in Arizona geographically to be playing against Chicago and St. Louis and Nashville. And they have a nice big city in Houston that is just waiting for the chance to pounce on an NHL team. They're going to be a great market for the NHL. Natural rivalry with Dallas, huge TV market. Houston's getting a team. It's probably not going to be through expansion. It's going to be through relocation, and my bet is it's the Arizona Coyotes because of the whole Central Division thing. It makes much more sense for a Central Division team to be in Houston than it does Arizona. I would be 100% in favor of seeing a Houston versus Dallas Winter Classic. We have more than enough technology at this point to have outdoor games in warm weather places. I could absolutely see a Houston versus Dallas Winter Classic down the road, and I would be all for it. I think that'd be fantastic. The natural rivalry there is huge. I don't think it would take very long from Houston getting a team for that rivalry to build, and I think it would be awesome. Listen, I would love to see. Seattle's already getting a team. That's a done deal. We're on to the next one. Seattle's already a done deal. We're on to the next one to who's getting a new team, and it's going to be Houston. They're next in line. I would love to see Quebec City get a team again, but they're not going to. The Canadian dollar is not strong enough. Financially, they cannot keep up with the American teams. And Quebec City's not a huge market to begin with. They will always play second fiddle to the Montreal Canadiens, and they just can't compete with them financially. It's not gonna it will not work out money-wise. So I unless something drastically changes with the Canadian dollar, I do not see Quebec City getting a team again. As much as far as I love history of the league, I would love to see them get it, but it's just financially not going to happen. No, Houston does need a team. Houston would be one of the best southern markets in the NHL. They should already have a team, but I don't know why they don't. Um, Yeah, but the problem with that is that would mess up the conferences. You can't take a team out of the East and move them to the West. Honestly, with the Seattle move, we finally get even conferences again. Um, it would mess up that would give you 17 teams and only 15 teams in the East. That with Seattle, we're finally getting the conferences evened out 8-8, or the conference is 16-16 and the divisions 8-8, 8-8. I think the league wants to keep things even as much as they can, so I don't see them moving an Eastern team out west and messing that balance up. Yeah, Jesse Puljujarvi is probably getting traded without a doubt. I think we're going to see a lot of Edmonton Oilers get traded. Not the guy that they need to trade the most in Milan Lucic, because nobody wants him or his contract. But I do think we're going to see a lot of Oilers moves at the deadline this year. So while you can't move Detroit back to the West, because just like moving Florida to the West, then you wouldn't have enough teams in the Eastern Conference. And they're out of cities to add in the East. I mean, that I think as far as cities go, they are maxed out in the Eastern Conference. I can't think of any Eastern, city that needs that is big enough to support an NHL team. I just don't see it. Yeah, Blue Jackets cannot score tonight. That's going to be a big problem against a team like Tampa Bay. I don't know what Vancouver is going to do, because they're teetering right on a playoff spot. They can't really unload guys, because that would be giving up on any chance of making the playoffs this season. But they're certainly not good enough to make any sort of deep run. So I don't think they're going to be buyers at the deadline. So Vancouver is going to be an interesting team to watch, because I just don't know what they're going to do, what their mindset is going to be going into the I don't know what they're going to do going into the deadline. I don't think that will ever work. How could you have an NHL team in Europe? The travel would just be outrageous. The travel would be absolutely outrageous. They'd be playing like all other teams from the US. They'd be constantly going back and forth. Their home games would be in Europe. You'd have to get all those players to Europe, and then they'd all have to come back. It would just be ridiculous. That would be absolutely ridiculous. And it's not just the NHL. We have the NFL talking about expanding to London in the United Kingdom. We have MLB talking about expanding to Europe. Like, it's just dumb. It doesn't make any sense travel-wise. If at least the NHL already has a bunch of Canadian teams. If you're the NFL or MLB or something like that, why? Like, you would go to more Canadian teams before you ever went to Europe. Like, why? If you're the MLB and you have one Canadian team, you have the Toronto Blue Jays, and that's it. Why wouldn't you expand into Canada before you expanded into Europe? That just it doesn't make any sense to me. But it's constantly being talked about, which I don't understand. But I would never want any of these North American leagues expanding outside of North America. It doesn't make any sense to me. No one would go to the games. I don't even think people in Mexico know what ice hockey is. I really don't think they know what ice hockey is. So I would not put a team in Mexico, that's for sure. Keep it in the US and Canada. Hey, Vegas coverage, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Got a lot of good talk going on about trades, expansion, relocating teams. A lot of chatting tonight about all different stuff from around the league. Well, does Mexico actually have an international team? Because I've never. I mean, they don't make the Olympics or anything. I don't think. So I've never seen them play. I'm sure it doesn't go well. But I honestly, I'm surprised they even have that. I really am. I've never seen the Mexico national team, so that is. I learned something new today. Who does Boston trade next? Hopefully nobody. Um, Hopefully they just hold pat and lose in the second round again, and then let these kids keep developing. But I think they're going to be dumb and actually go out and make some big move that's going to end up completely backfiring, exactly like the Rick Nash trade did, and did absolutely nothing for them, and just end up being a waste of good assets. Add a team in North Korea. That would be absurd. Obviously not realistic, but that would be nuts. That would be funny for sure. Yeah, that's literally what would happen though, buddy. That is what would happen. Yeah, Rick Nash was horrendous for the Bruins. Obviously, it wasn't all his fault. He got concussed pretty early on in his time, and then that pretty much ended it as far as him playing well for the Bruins. But yeah, that did not work out at all in the Bruins' favor. So everybody, while we're on commercial here, the second period should be back somewhat soon here. While we're on while we're while we're on commercial here, I just want to say, if you're enjoying this stream, please give it a thumbs up. That helps out a ton with the video and on the channel. Way more than you would ever realize as far as getting the video found on YouTube and stuff. That would be absolutely it really helps a lot if you hit the like button and give it a thumbs up. That helps a lot. And also, if you're not yet a subscriber, please hit that subscribe button. That also helps out a ton as well in getting the channel bigger and growing the channel. Thank you, buddy, for subscribing. I saw the notification. I really appreciate it. Hope you enjoy the channel. I do streams like this pretty often, a lot in the playoffs, and then I also do recorded content throughout the week on topics from all across the NHL. So there's plenty of hockey content here for you guys. So subscribe, like. Thank you guys for the support so much, and look to keep it going here. So yeah, now that they're talking about Barkov's between the legs goal last night, yes, that is a sick goal, and it's ridiculous that he even did that in a game. But every 12-year-old that plays hockey knows how to do that. It's not like it's that difficult of a move to pull off. It's just incredible that he did it in a game because you don't see it that often in a game. Yeah, it's not that difficult of a move to do. Yeah, Kenny, I'm not sure if that's true or not. Let me see. I'll have to check my sources here and see if that's true. Um, do I think Pittsburgh? Yes, the Oilers are an absolute joke of a team, and it's unbelievable that they don't get better. Like the Oilers just don't get better. It's really insane how they've been so bad for so long, except for that one good year they had, McDavid's second season. And I mean, everyone thought the Oilers arrived when they made it to the second round that year. And then what they do last year? Absolutely nothing. What have they done this year? Absolutely nothing. It's just the team is an absolute joke. The whole organization is a disaster, and they're completely wasting Connor McDavid right now. Um, it's really, really sad and embarrassing for the league. The Oilers can't even make the playoffs. Never mind win any playoff games. They can't even get into the playoffs. When they did get into the playoffs, they made it to the second round, but they've made the playoffs once in how many of the last 10 years? Like they've made the playoffs once in the last 10 years. That's a joke. Absolute joke. Patrick Laine has been absolute garbage. Now the Jets are still great. The Jets are really good, but Patrick Laine has been absolute garbage. He has what does he have? 4 goals since December. Like he's been horrible. Yeah, the Jets are a great team. Laine is having a horrendous season. All right, I'm going to move the computer back, guys, because we're back for the second period of hockey here. Hey, gamer, what's going on? Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate it. We are back for the start of the second period here. Nikita Kucherov has both goals in this game. It's 2-0 Tampa Bay. Columbus has had some fantastic scoring chances, and they have not been able to capitalize on them. Yeah, Line is having a horrendous year. Yeah, Braden Point and Nikita Kucherov are the top scoring duo in the NHL. 171 points between the two of them, and we're not even done with February yet. Unreal. You talk about why Tampa is so good. There you go, right there. Laine had a 5-goal game in November. He had 18 goals in November. You know how many he's had since then? 4. 4 goals since November. Absolute joke. Patrick Laine has stunk this year. I don't know if he's hurt. There haven't been any sort of reports about it. No one's talking about it, which I find a little odd. no one's really talking about what's going on with Line. I mean, imagine if Ovechkin went like December, January, 2.5 months with only scoring 4 or 5 goals. That would be all over every NBC NHL broadcast ever. And no one's really talking about the fact that Line is scoring like a fourth liner at this point. It's weird. Maybe he is hurt. Maybe there's something else going on. But he either needs to get it together real fast, or this is going to be a disaster of a season for Patrik Laine. The dude had like 20-something goals at the end of November. He still has like 25 now, or 20. He might have gotten to 26. I'm not sure. Not good. Yeah, his month of November was unreal. Since then, not good. I'm not sure where Crosby is on the scoring chart. I mean, he's certainly not at the top. He's not the huge bulk point producer that he used to be back in his younger days. But I think Crosby's had a very good season. But I'm not sure exactly where he is as far as the scoring rankings go. Oh wow, he's that high? I didn't think he was even top 10, but Sydney's up to 8th now. That's a really good season for Crosby, especially at this point in his career. That's a great season from Sidney Crosby. Well, Columbus is down to 5 defensemen. Ryan Murray is out for the rest of the game. That's not good. Oh, nice hit there. Columbus gets the puck right back, though. Nice save from Vasilevsky. Hey, what's going on? Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate it. Yeah, Malkin's closing in on 1,000 points. He'll get to 1,000 points probably in the next couple of weeks. He only needs 9 more points. He's getting in. He's going to get there probably in the next couple of weeks. Oh, he's 25th. Is he 25th? Is Crosby 8th in scoring, 25th or 32nd? I'm gonna have to look myself. I don't know what he is. I expected him to be around 25th probably. That's why it seems way too high. Yeah, no, Sidney Crosby is 8th in the league in points. He has 72 points this year. He's 1 ahead of Steven Stamkos and 4 behind Nathan MacKinnon. Sidney Crosby is 8th in the league in points. NHL.com, the official website of the National Hockey League. Nikita Kucherov leads the league with 94 points. Patrick Kane is second with 87. McDavid has 83. Those are the only 3 guys in the 80s right now. Then we have Goodrow, Rantanen, Point, McKinnon, and then Crosby. Crosby is 8th in the league in points. Yes, the Kings are a disgrace of a team. The Kings are very, very bad, and they absolutely need a full-on rebuild in Los Angeles. And I think they're gonna do it. They don't have much of a choice. The team has no offense, absolutely nobody that can score goals. They're an old team. They're living off 2012 success, trying to win now with a 2012 team, and it's not working. I don't know. You know what? Michael Furland might not be going anywhere. Um, when Carolina was out of the playoffs, he was one of the bigger names on the trade market as far as forwards. And it looked like Furland was going to be a guy that absolutely was going to get traded. But now, with Carolina potentially making the playoffs, he might not be going anywhere. They might basically use him as a rental that they already have. So rather than trading for a rental player, they just already have one. So I wouldn't be surprised if Furlan doesn't get traded and they just use him for the rest of this year and then he leaves in free agency. But Carolina now has a very legitimate shot of making the playoffs. So I don't think they're just going to unload people. Oh, Simmons is 100% a rental. He's going to sign a massive deal in the offseason in free agency. So wherever Simmons gets traded is only going to be a rental unless he happens to sign a huge deal with that particular team. But Simmons is going to go to free agency July 1 without a doubt in my mind. Yeah, I don't think Kucherov's going to get to 100 points tonight. But I do think Kucherov's gonna. I don't think Kucherov's obviously gonna get to 100 points in the very near future here. Yeah, Kucherov is unbelievable. Yeah, I mean Kucherov's my pick for MVP. That's for sure. Yeah, Simmons will probably get a 5 or 6 year deal, probably 5, and probably around 6.5 million per year, probably. I think that's too much for him, given the fact that he's probably not going to score 30 goals in a season again. I think he at this point is probably a 20 to 25 goal scorer. So I'd like to get him at around 5.5 million. I think a team will probably pay a million more per year than that, and he'll probably get a 5 year deal. Yeah, Andre Vasilevsky is very, very good. He's having a very good game tonight, and I think Vasilevsky has proven himself to be one of the best goaltenders in the NHL. With him so young, if I were starting a franchise in the NHL and I got a choice, they were like, who are you picking? If you can pick from any NHL goaltender to start your franchise, who are you picking? It is without a doubt Andre Vasilevsky, given his young age and ability to play at this level for the next 10 plus years, and how good he is already at such a young age. It is without a doubt Andre Vasilevsky. He is unbelievable. Nope, I'm definitely taking Vasilevsky over Matt Murray. Matt Murray's been way too inconsistent. A huge post there for Columbus. And once again, Columbus is getting grade A chances that they cannot put in the net. Yeah, Ben Bishop was the starter back then. Bishop's in Dallas now and he's hurt. Um, Corey Crawford's all done. Crawford is all done. I'm telling you right now, Crawford will never be the same again. Crawford had a good run, but he is all done. He's got concussion problems now. And I mean, that really comes back to hurt you in the long run. And I think Crawford is not in good shape at this point. No, Crawford's not good. Crawford doesn't even play. He's got concussion issues all the time now. That D'Elia kid is the starter now for Chicago, basically. Crawford's got vertigo problems. He's got reoccurring concussion issues. He is all done. He will never be a high-level goaltender in the league again. Who's going to trade for a goalie with concussion issues? It's easy to say, trade this guy or that guy, but you have to have a team on the other end that wants him. And there's no team that wants Corey Crawford right now. He's just going to sit on LTIR for the most of the season. It's pointless. I think he's going to have to. I think he'll be forced to retire fairly soon, just given health issues. Nice shoulder save there from Vasilevsky on Dubois. I don't know exactly off the top of my head, but I do think he's signed fairly long term. I don't think his contract is imminently up, but I'm not sure. Well, but at that point, Hossa got traded just to have a team just took his contract. Hossa was never going to play again. The same thing will probably happen with Crawford, but he's not going to play. He's almost a goal there for Tampa, just went wide. Some team will take his contract just to get over the cap floor, and they'll put him on LTIR, and it'll be like a Mark Savard situation, a Nathan Horton situation, a Dave Bolin situation, a David Clarkson situation. So many guys have gotten, hurt to the point where it's career-ending injuries, and then their contract gets tossed around for the next few years, but they'll never see the ice again. And I think Crawford is getting close to that point. Yeah, Rick Nash doesn't have a contract that's getting traded around because he was a UFA, but he just had to retire at 34 because of concussion issues. 34 is not an old age to retire in the NHL. Yeah, the Leafs right now have Nathan Horton's contract, and it sits there on LTIR. I don't even think it counts against the cap. Oh, okay. So Crawford is signed through next season. So he'll probably stay in Chicago for next year. He'll probably start a fair number of games and then get injured again. That seems to be the way it goes. And then he'll be a free agent at the end of next year, and he'll probably retire. But that's just my opinion, and my opinion is only one person's. Ugh. So Tampa Bay, getting back to this game that's on, Tampa Bay is still up 2-0. Columbus continues to get chance after chance after chance after chance, and they cannot put the puck in the net, which is an issue for them scoring. And you're not going to beat Tampa Bay if you don't score on your opportunities, and that's what's happening to Columbus tonight. And Tampa has got the 2 goals from Kucherov, very, very good goals from Kucherov, and they're just holding the lead at this point. Oh yeah, Johnny, without a doubt, I could definitely see that happening. And that Colorado team was the laughing stock of the NHL, but I absolutely could see that happening with Ottawa being worse than that team next year. Ottawa might be one. They might be an all-time bad NHL team next season. I would not be surprised. That team might be an AHL level team next season. I feel bad for Brady Tkachuk because he's a good player, but he was picked 4th overall this past year by Ottawa, but he is in for a long road with this Ottawa Senators team, and he's the first big pick of the rebuild. They have a long way to go. He's going to be stuck on a really lousy team for a long time before they ever start to show some significant improvement. So I kind of feel bad for him because he's a good player. Honestly, 25 wins might be generous for Ottawa next season. They might get less than 25 wins next year. And I know that seems ridiculous in an 82-game NHL season, but they are going to be so bad next season. Yes. I mean, you'll never have relegation in North American sports. There's too much money involved, but they could be relegated given how bad they're going to be next season. Yes, RMC, it is 2-0 Tampa Bay. Kucherov has scored both goals. I forget who it was in the chat earlier that said they bet $50 on they bet $50 on Columbus tonight. I feel bad for them. They just threw $50 out the window because I don't think Columbus is coming back and winning this game. Yeah, if McDavid wants to win a Stanley Cup, he needs to get the hell out of Edmonton. But again, how's he going to get out of Edmonton? The Oilers aren't going to trade Connor McDavid, are they? I don't think so. So I think McDavid might be stuck in Edmonton. But I mean, the Oilers are another team that have a long way to go before they're good again. So here's Columbus in the offensive zone getting some pressure here. Still have not scored a goal. True, they did trade Wayne Gretzky. The Edmonton Oilers traded Wayne Gretzky. And if you trade Wayne Gretzky, I guess you would trade anybody. But I can't see them trading McDavid, at least not anytime soon. Yeah, it literally might be the 2030s before Edmonton is good, given the rate that they've gone the last season. Yeah. Columbus trying to get some pressure here. I don't show the game. Read the description. Should probably read the description of the video. We got a penalty coming up. It's illegal to show the game. I would get my channel taken down for copyright. That's why it says in big capital letters, "This is not the game" in the description. Yeah, Colorado, that pick that Colorado has is probably going to be the first overall pick this year. I would bet on that being the number 1 overall pick, which means Colorado is going to get Jack Hughes. Look out for Colorado next season. Look out for Colorado for really the future, for the foreseeable future. I mean, they already have Rantanen, McKinnon, and Landeskog as their top line. Now they're going to get at least a guaranteed top 3 pick, probably the number 1 overall pick this year. They have Cale Makar, who currently plays at UMass Amherst, and I don't know how many of you guys get to see college hockey, but being from Massachusetts, I get to see Hockey East and college hockey all the time. And let me tell you, when I say Cale Makar is the real deal, that kid is going to be an absolute beast for the Colorado Avalanche. Incredible offensive defenseman. He's unbelievable skater, great puck mover. He can score goals. He can make sick passes. He's physical. He absolutely loves to throw his weight around. Cale Makar is going to be a beast of a defenseman for the Colorado Avalanche coming out of UMass Amherst, and I expect him to sign with Colorado as soon as this year's college season ends. He's going to be unbelievable. So they have him. They have Zadorov, who I really like, is a really good young defensive defenseman. They have Tyson Barrie. I mean, Colorado is set up to be a beast of a team for the next, 10 years. I think they are really headed in the right direction. Yeah, I really enjoy college hockey, and especially being from Massachusetts and all the great teams in New England in college hockey. It's awesome to watch, and some of these kids coming up look really, really good. Cale Makar being probably the best. So Columbus is on the power play here. Tampa Bay, Cedric Paquette got a holding penalty. So Columbus with a very important power play here. A power play goal here would make this a 2-1 game, and that would really tighten this thing up in the second period here if they can get this back to 2-1. So Columbus here with good puck possession. They're trying to gain control of this, but they haven't gotten any great chances. Now that got blocked and cleared by Tampa. So 1 minute of this power play gone. All right, buddy. Thanks for watching. Really, really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I hope you enjoy the channel. Really appreciate it, and hope to see you at the next stream, and have a good night, man. There's another chance. So down to the final 10 seconds on this power play for Columbus. Nobody has really gotten any great chance out of this. That was a nice chance there for, I think it was Boone Jenner. Or was it Bjorkstrand? It was either 28 or 38 for Columbus. But Vasilevsky comes up big with the save. Cool, Fire Strike. Thank you. I appreciate that. You should get notified now whenever I post videos or go live, so you won't miss anything. So yeah, click that notification button. Make sure you're subscribed. It really helps out the channel a lot. I really appreciate it, and I hope to see this thing keep growing. Thanks, guys. See where we're at subscriber count. 689, almost to 690. I think after my last stream I did get to 690, but then I think like pretty much everyone that had subscribed during that one unsubscribed. So I went back to like 684 or 685 or something, but I'm back to 689 here. One more subscriber and we get to 690. 11 more and we get the big 700. Creeping in on 1,000 here. Let's hopefully getting to 1,000 soon. Yeah, I think we're going to really see the trading pick up really any time now. We could see moves at any point between now and next Monday. I don't necessarily think that there are going to be a lot of teams that wait necessarily right up until the deadline. I think we could see some serious moves get made before the deadline. So Monday will obviously be a big day, and deadline day always is, but I think we could see some significant moves before the trading deadline on Monday. I think this week we could see something big go down. Enforcer Hall of Fame for Dave Manson. I haven't seen the numbers for Dave Manson. I haven't looked at his stats or his fight numbers, but I mean, he was a real tough guy. So I would say Dave Manson will definitely be getting an Enforcer Hall of Fame video in the near future here. I just got to go through and do the research and stuff before I make it. So here's Tampa Bay now with some offensive chances. A really nice glove save through traffic by Korpisalo there. Under 5 minutes now left in the second period. No scoring this period. Still 2-0 Tampa Bay. Yeah, you can't let Kucherov just take the puck to the middle of the ice like that. Got to play better defense than that. Oh, yeah. Then Manson is a shoo-in for Enforcer Hall of Fame then with 2,000 penalty minutes. Honestly, I don't know why I haven't done him yet. He's an absolute shoo-in for Enforcer Hall of Fame. You know what? I'll tell you right now, the next one that I do will be Dave Manson. So at some point this week, it will get done. Yes, I did know that he's Josh Manson's dad. I did know that. I like Josh Manson a lot too. He's one of my favorite younger players in the NHL. Josh Manson played college hockey at Northeastern. So I saw him in college a lot play at Northeastern, and now obviously he plays for the Ducks, which is a little unfortunate for him. But he's a good young defenseman, a good physical defenseman, and I like Josh Manson a lot. I'll check scores around the league at the end of this period, Wolf. When this period ends, I'll pull up all the scores and talk about other games going on right now. Going around, that doesn't make any sense. I loved Marc Savard. When Marc Savard, people forget how good he was for the Bruins. People forget how good Marc Savard was for the Bruins. And it is a goddamn shame what happened to him. That Matt Cook ruined his career and really, ruined his life like that. Because Marc Savard was one of the best passers and playmakers in the NHL. And to have it all just end like that because Matt Cook wanted to elbow him in the head, blindside him in the middle of the ice. I mean, It's a damn shame what happened to Savard because he was awesome. He was one of my favorite players on the Bruins. And imagine if he didn't get hurt because Boston would have had Savard as their number one center. Then Bergeron developed into the ridiculously good player that he is. David Krejci was young at the time, developed into the player that he is. Boston would have been set down the middle. 1, 2, 3 down at the center position. It's a shame that Savard's career ended the way that it did because he was a hell of a player. And yes, I absolutely loved Marc Savard. Hey, Jared, what's going on? Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Wow. Vasilevsky threw the screen, but the puck goes over the net. I have no idea. He's just an AHL defenseman. I have no idea, Brendan. Who I literally had never even heard of him until the trade was announced today. That Peter Holland got traded for him. Yeah, I know nothing about him. I know that he's not an NHL level player. That was a minor league deal. Now we got a nice little scrum after the whistle here. Yeah, I absolutely hate Matt Cook. Absolutely hate Matt Cook. The score is 2-0 Tampa Bay still. Yeah, no, Tampa's still up 2-0. Kucherov has both goals for the Lightning. And Columbus cannot buy a goal in this game. They cannot buy a goal in this game. So 2:20 left in the second period here. And Columbus just won the faceoff, but it split the defense and went all the way down. So Columbus is controlling the puck here. But again, they can't put the puck in the net. They're getting some good chances. And now Josh Anderson just ran over Vasilevsky, and that is going to draw a crowd. He just absolutely plowed over Vasilevsky. Vasilevsky, I mean, I bet you Vasilevsky hasn't been hit like that in a long time. Anderson just went right over him. Great pass, sends Anderson in kind of on a breakaway, and then he just plows into Vasilevsky. I mean, Coburn kind of pushed Anderson into the goalie, though. It's not like he straight up ran the goalie there. Coburn pushed him in. Wow, Tortorella's pissed. He does not like because it ended up Coburn pushed him into the goalie. I'm kind of with the Blue Jackets on that. Anderson's going to the net like he should, and then Coburn just pushes him in. I don't think Anderson really could have done anything there. His skates were split out. He was completely off balance because Coburn pushed him. I don't know what Josh Anderson's supposed to do there. Not go to the net? So Tampa's on the power play now after that interesting call for goaltender interference there. I mean, that's not a penalty when the defenseman pushes you into the goalie. And that's offsides. Yeah, Columbus is looking for a shorthanded goal bad here. I mean, they're literally flying the zone on the penalty kill. Good clear there by Columbus right off the faceoff, and now we're down to just about a minute left in the second period here. Tortorella is one of the best coaches in the NHL. What are you talking about? Tortorella is awesome. He's one of my favorite coaches. Guy is a fantastic coach. Old school, in your face. Yeah, good. That's what a coach should be doing. And now we got a 2-minute. Now we got a 2-minute penalty on Columbus again for too many men on the ice. Tortorella is going to be pissed at that. That's a dumb penalty. That is a dumb penalty. Look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're shorthanded and they had 6 guys on the ice. They had 6 guys on the ice and they were only supposed to have 4. That is a dumb penalty. Learn how to change your goddamn lines. That is like midget level hockey right there. See you, Wolf. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Thanks for clicking the bell. That's great. So you will be notified. Hopefully, if YouTube does their job correctly, you'll be notified every time I go live and post a video. So you won't miss anything. So now it's 5-on-3 with 33 seconds left in the period and 52 seconds left in the 5-on-3. If Tampa, this is huge for Columbus. If they can kill this off, they're still in this game and have a chance. And never mind, Stamkos just scored. It's 3-0 Lightning. And that is going to be a very, very difficult road to come back from if you're the Columbus Blue Jackets. 3-0 against the best team in the league. That's not looking good. This game's pretty much over. Huh. Of course I did. That was one of the greatest I mean, obviously the Bruins winning the Stanley Cup in 2011 was the greatest moment in recent Bruins history, but that was up there. That comeback in Game 7 in 2013 was absolutely up there. Of course, I watched that as it happened. I mean, that was just unbelievable. And I mean, I watch every Bruins playoff game since I've been, almost my whole life. Actually, I have a Fire Strike. I got something to show you right over here. As soon as this period ends, I will go get it. As we come down to the final second, and that is the end. That's the end of the period. End of the second period. It's 3-0 Tampa Bay. End of the second as we go to intermission here. Fire Strike, I hope you're still there because I have something to show you. Speaking of Bruins comeback in 2013. I don't know if it's going to fit on this screen, but this is the picture right after Bergeron scored the game-winning goal in overtime. That's James Reimer laying flat on the ice, knowing he just lost. And then it's Marchand, Bergeron, and Seguin. Poor Tyler Seguin. I can't believe we got rid of him. But them right after they scored the goal. This is a fantastic picture, and it is signed by Patrice Bergeron right in the middle there. This is, I mean, I have a lot of really cool hockey stuff down here in my basement, but this is one of my favorites. It is absolutely one of my favorite pieces, and just Bergeron, I mean, you have great players in this, and just an iconic moment in Bruins history. So I'm going to... So, yeah, I have lots of cool hockey stuff in my basement, but that is definitely one of the best. And I got posters from the 2011 season, pictures of Chara and Tim Thomas with the cup. Up here, I have a picture of the 2011 team after, with the Stanley Cup, the big team photo signed by all the players. It's awesome, and it has pieces of the net from Game 7 in it, so that's really cool. There's some awesome stuff here. Yeah, red light Reimer. Yep. Yeah, Reimer. I mean, the Maple Leafs as a whole blew that game. Absolutely blew that game. That should have been an upset win for Toronto, and they just completely crapped their pants in the third period of that game. The angle that picture is taken, Char is not in it. He was probably off to the back out more towards the center ice or the blue line at that point. So he's not in that picture from that angle. But yes, Chara was right there. That was right after Bergeron scored and turned around and started skating back to the middle of the ice. Just a fantastic picture. Yeah, Tampa Bay's offense is very, very good. And so Tampa Bay's offense gets so much attention and credit because of how lethal they are and all the great talent and goal scoring that they have. Tampa Bay is a very good defensive team as well. I mean, they've got Victor Hedman, who is one of the best defensemen in the NHL. They have Ryan McDonough. Dan Girardi's a very solid player still. They've got just so much, good mix on the back end of offense and defense, and young players, veteran players. With Chernak and Sergachev are really young. They have a lot of veteran guys to balance that out. Tampa is a very good defensive team as well. Tampa Bay is a force to be reckoned with this year. They're an extremely well put together team. Yeah, I mean, my favorite hockey moment from my lifetime is without a doubt Bruins winning the Stanley Cup in 2011. Anytime your team wins the Stanley Cup, that has to be it. So, I'm going to move the computer again, give it a chance to cool off. Hopefully get some air flowing through it. And I know that I promised to look at oh, sorry about that. Look at scores from around the league, so I'm going to do that. Obviously, in our game here, Tampa Bay is up on Columbus 3-0. Chicago, what? What the hell is this? Chicago is up on Ottawa 5-4 after the first period. There were 9 freaking goals in the first period. Does either team have a goalie in the net? Or are they just playing 6-on-6 empty nets? That's got to be what's going on, right? They must be playing 6-on-6 empty nets. There is no way that there are any goaltenders playing in this game, and it's 5-4 after the first period. Is this pond hockey? That is absurd. Well, anyway, it's 5-4 Chicago over Ottawa after one period. What a joke there. Both those teams suck. Both those teams are jokes and have no defense. And that just proves it to you there. That is why neither of those teams will be touching the playoffs anytime soon. They can't keep the puck out of their own net. Anyway, Colorado is up on Vegas 1-0. And Boston and San Jose play later tonight. Washington and LA play later tonight. And Calgary beat Arizona earlier today 5-2. So that's where we're at around the league. I cannot believe that it is 5-4 after one period in Chicago. Talk about nobody playing defense. What a joke. Yes, Peter Chiarelli absolutely destroyed the Oilers, Johnny. That is 100% correct. And Mark Messier is an absolute legend, without a doubt. This is disgusting. I cannot believe that we have a 5-4 game after one period. Did this just change to lacrosse all of a sudden? Did we go from hockey to lacrosse here? That is insane. No, Chicago is not making the playoffs. They're not. NBC likes to push this agenda that like everyone is still in the playoff race. Not everyone is still in the playoff race. Chicago is not making the playoffs. Philadelphia is not making the playoffs. St. Louis is making the playoffs. A legitimate being in the playoffs and who does not. So when you look at bubble teams, in the Eastern Conference, you have Carolina 1 point out with 68 points. They have a very realistic shot of making the playoffs. Then you have Buffalo and Philadelphia at 63 points, 6 points out of a playoff spot. Neither of those teams are making the playoffs. They're 6 points out. Who are they going to go past? Who in the playoffs right now is going to drop out of a playoff spot? The Islanders? No. Washington? No. Columbus? Probably not. Tampa Bay? Hell no. Boston? No. Toronto? No. Pittsburgh? Maybe, but then Carolina would take it. Montreal? Maybe, but then Carolina would take it. And I think that they'll probably be in the playoffs. So Philly is not making the playoffs. Buffalo is not making the playoffs. No one lower than them in the standings are making the playoffs. Out west, you have Dallas at 63 points in the first wild card spot. You have Minnesota in the second wild card spot with 60. Then you have Vancouver 1 point out with 59. Colorado 2 points out, or 3 points out with 57. Arizona at 57 and Chicago at 57. Colorado has a game in hand on Chicago. Chicago's not making the playoffs. Arizona's not making the playoffs. Colorado, with that game in hand, potentially could. Vancouver, they've already played 60 games. I don't think they're making the playoffs. They could. They have a better chance than Chicago, though. And then you have Minnesota, who's in the spot. So if Minnesota, I don't see Dallas dropping out. Nobody ahead of Dallas is dropping out. So it really out west comes down to that last spot. So it's between Minnesota, Vancouver, and Colorado, in my opinion. One of those three teams will get in. Two of them won't. Chicago's not making the playoffs. God, it annoys me that NBC constantly pushes this agenda that like everyone still has a shot. It's like, no, they don't. A lot of teams are not going to the playoffs. It's annoying because there are really at this point there are only a few teams left outside the current playoffs picture that have a legitimate chance of getting in. And I don't see Chicago getting in. I don't see Philadelphia getting in. I don't see Buffalo getting in. Those are not teams that are going to make it, in my opinion. Sorry, Joe. I've been ranting. I didn't look there. Do I think Tampa will have two players over 100 points? Absolutely. Kucherov's a guarantee to 100. Braden Point is a guarantee to 100. They could have a third over 100, depending on the kind of the rest of the season that Stamkos has. He could potentially get to 100, although that's a bit of a stretch. But Tampa will absolutely have Kucherov and Braden Point. Stamkos is at 71, so it's not completely out of the realm of possibility for him to get to 100. Points at 75, I think he probably does get to 100. He only needs 25 more. And Kucherov's at 94. He is absolutely getting to 100. That's obvious. He'll get to 100 maybe even before the month of February is over. Hey, what's going on, Transportation Land? It is 3-0 Tampa Bay right now at the second intermission. So we still got a period left, but it's 3-0 Tampa. They're just so good. They are so good. Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah, it's the NBCSN game tonight. I don't know if any Canadian networks are showing it, but in the U.S. it's the NBCSN game. Hey TTC, what's going on, man? Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Welcome. And why aren't people talking about Connor Garland? Because he plays in Arizona. He, you know, he plays in Arizona. You're not going to generate buzz in Arizona. You're on a lousy team. He has been playing really good, but he's on a bad team, and he plays in a market that, quite frankly, isn't even a hockey market. So that's why people aren't talking about him. Oh yeah, Andrei Vasilevsky has been huge for the Lightning. He is their goaltender of the future without a doubt. I think he's the best young goaltender in the NHL. If I were starting a franchise, I would start my franchise with Andrei Vasilevsky, and he's been absolutely phenomenal. Boston has passed Toronto. They're in second place. They're on a 10-game point streak, 7-0-3. In their last 10 games. Boston has absolutely been on fire, and they're doing most of it without David Pastrnak, who's hurt with a thumb injury. How many years with Chara in Ottawa? I'm not sure. I want to say about 5. I want to say around 5 before he went to the Bruins. But yeah, he was in Ottawa for a little bit, and then he went to Boston. I don't think the Senators are going to be worse than the 8-win expansion Capitals, but I do think the Senators could win less than 20 games tomorrow. That was stupid. Next season, I do think they might, or less than 25 games. Between 20 and 25 games next season might be the win total for Ottawa. They are going to be awful next year. The score is 3-0 Tampa Bay, TTC. And who is the smallest player in the NHL? I don't know. I'm not sure who the smallest player in the league is right now. I don't know that off the top of my head. Oh, cool. You guys can watch. That's awesome. Ottawa with 42 points next season. I think they might have a little more than 42. I mean, that is atrocious. Let's see if they win. If they win 20 games in regulation, that's 40 points. Then they'll probably have 6 or 7 overtime wins. That's like 40. That's 46 points, 47 points. I'll give them around 50 points next year. Give them like 22 wins and then 6 overtime losses, not overtime wins. Again, I'm sorry I can't keep a train of thought here. Yeah, 50 points would be 22 wins and then 6 overtime losses, and the rest with all losses or the regulation losses. So that would be a pretty atrocious season. No, I'm probably going to bed. I don't think I'm going to watch the Bruins tonight. I didn't really watch. I only watched a period of the Anaheim game. I didn't watch any of the LA game, and they've been winning without me. So I'm going to keep the not watching the California games going. I think it's been good luck so far. They've won both of the other games, so I'm not going to watch the Bruins. I'm going to go to bed. Yeah, and Milan Lucic sucks. So what does that tell you about what Patrick Laine has done over the past couple of months? Because Lucic does have more goals than Laine, and Lucic is absolutely awful at this point. Yeah, that atrocious Avalanche team had 48 points. I think that sorry, I can't keep a train of thought here for some reason. I think I'm just tired. But yeah, I think next year's Ottawa team will compete with that Avalanche team from 2016-17 as far as how bad they'll be. And I'm giving them around 50 points. Maybe they'll get 48 the same. Maybe they'll get less. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see next year. All right, we're back. Third period of hockey is underway. Putting the computer back. And, well, that didn't take long. It's 4-0 Tampa Bay. Braden Point, there's point number 76 of the season for Braden Point. That literally took 12 seconds into the period. That took 12 seconds, and Braden Point just ripped it home past Korpisalo, blocker side, and it's 4-0 Tampa Bay. Wow. That, all right, this game's over. Yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say that this game's over. Tampa with a 4-0 lead. I mean, you're not coming back from that against the best team in the league. Columbus been playing well of late, 5-1 in their last 6 games, but they did not have a good game tonight. And this is what happens when you don't capitalize on your chances. Columbus had so many great scoring chances, especially early in the game, the first half of the game, and they couldn't score on any of them. They couldn't net a single goal, and this is what happens when you don't. And Braden Point just scored again. Time to change goalies here. This is getting laughable at this point. This is getting laughable at this point. It's 5-0 Tampa Bay, Maddie. This game is getting laughable at this point. Tampa's just scored 2 goals in the first 45 seconds of the third period to make it 5-0. This is getting to be a joke. Am I gonna stream Maple Leafs Capitals? I don't think I have any way to watch Maple Leafs Capitals. When's that? I don't even know. Is that game on Thursday? I remember from Games of the Week talking about that game. I think it's on Thursday. I don't have any way to watch it, so I'm not going to be able to stream it if I can't watch it. My next stream I'm planning on is the Stadium Series game Saturday night between Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. That's my planned stream. And Vasilevsky with a huge save. And Josh Anderson finds himself in the Tampa Bay net again. Pittsburgh versus Philly is the Stadium Series. Battle of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia. Yeah, and I don't have any special NHL I don't have any special NHL packages or anything. No NHL Network, no NHL Center Ice. So the only games that I can watch are the games on NBC and NBCSN or the Bruins local games. So that's all I can watch. I do have ESPN Plus, but I would have to watch the game on my computer, and I can't watch the game on my computer and do this live stream at the same time. So those games I just have to watch and can't stream during. That's why I can only stream NBC games or Bruins games. Yeah, I mean, if Edmonton cannot afford to go on another 10-year rebuild. They've got to somehow get a winning team on the ice within the next couple of years. Yeah, nice glove save there by Vasilevsky. I'm not going to say the S word because I don't want to jinx Vasilevsky. So I'm not going to be the douchebag that jinxes him by saying it. Yeah, no, most of the players from Ottawa are guys that you've never even heard of before. That's just where they're at right now. That team and that organization is an absolute dumpster fire. So we're 3 minutes into the third period. Tampa's made it 5-0. This game is over. And now here they come. Oh, good chance to score again. Some nice defensive play there by Columbus, though. That puck was bouncing around. Yep. Nikita Kucherov now has 70 assists on the season, and it's still February. It's still February. We still have all of March and the beginning of April before the playoffs start. We still have another month and a week of hockey. Well, and that's once February ends. There's still a week and a half left of February. We still have 6-7 weeks of NHL regular season to go, and Kucherov has 70 assists already and 99 points. No, he's at 99 already? What? This Lightning team is unreal. Unreal. Hey, Holly, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. Hey, Corpusalo makes a save. Hey, what's going on? Thanks for being here, guys. Really, really appreciate it. Glad to see everyone stopping in to say hello. Um, no, you do not want to play the Tampa Bay Lightning right now. This team is so freaking good. It is unbelievable. Yeah, no. If Tampa doesn't win the cup this year, that is a huge disappointment for them. This is a Stanley Cup or bust team this year in Tampa Bay. They are all in. Yeah, Robin Lehner is having an unbelievable season for the New York Islanders, and he absolutely is a Vezina candidate and has a strong Vezina possibility with Lehner. I appreciate that, Holly. Thanks for tuning in. It means a lot, and I'm glad that people enjoy my channel, and that's why I keep doing it because I have an audience that certainly uh, that is very supportive and really make this channel go. Do I think Tampa? No, I don't think Tampa Bay tries to make any sort of big move like that. Absolutely not. Why in the world would Tampa Bay even touch this team? The best trade that Tampa Bay could make this season is doing absolutely nothing. I would not touch this team. It is as good of a hockey team as you're going to get right now. There's no need for them to do anything. And yeah, you're right. They don't have the cap space. They are right up against it as far as cap goes. They don't have the cap space to do much of anything. And if I were them, I wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't even make a fourth line move. I would leave this team exactly how it is. No, it's not going to go that low in Ottawa. I think Ottawa probably gets 50 points next season, which would be 22 wins, a shit ton of losses, and 6 overtime losses. That would get them to 50 points, and that's pretty much as bad as it gets. Thank you, TTC. I appreciate that. Um, yeah, 80. They probably have at least 85 points, maybe. Well, trying to think. Minnesota is in the last wild card spot out west right now with 60 points. There's a little over 20 games left for each of these teams. So yeah, and another that would be another 20 25 points probably. Yeah. No, the second wild card spot out west will probably have to have at least 85 points. I'd say 87. 87 probably gets you the second wild card spot out west. Just my prediction right now. No, I have not been to the Hockey Hall of Fame, but I would absolutely love to go at some point in my life, that's for sure. I've never been to Toronto. Again, I'd love to go. That's definitely a city I would absolutely love to go see, but I have not been there yet. Yeah, Toronto's in a playoff spot. They're third right now in the Atlantic Division. So Columbus still has not scored a goal. Yeah, so that guy that was here earlier that bet $50 on Columbus tonight, that bet did not work out in his favor, that's for sure. So he just might as well have taken that $50 and just burned it, lit it on fire. But Hey, that's gambling. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. And now back behind the play, we have Paquette going at it with Dubois. Just throwing gloved, no real fight, just throwing gloved punches at each other. And I have a feeling this game's kind of had a little bit of an edge to it all night long. So I would not be surprised if this gets really chippy. And it's 5-0. The game's over. And these teams have been really chippy all game. So I wouldn't be surprised if things get a little nasty here at the end. I think the Bruins are going to lose in the second round just like they did last year. They're going to beat Toronto in the first round, and then they're going to lose to Tampa Bay in the second round. It'll be very similar to last year. I think the Atlantic Division as a whole is very similar to last year. That's the way it's going to go. Oh, Victor Hedman's hurt. That's not good. Will not return tonight. That is not good. That would certainly be a big loss for Tampa Bay. Well, it's a little early for me to be doing my playoff predictions. I will be doing a playoff prediction video, obviously, at the beginning of the playoffs. But if I had to pick a team to win the Stanley Cup right now, I would probably lean towards the Winnipeg Jets. And I don't know if that's going to change at all this season. I think Winnipeg might be the wagon that I ride through the playoffs this year. I'm very, very high on the Winnipeg Jets, and they are built for playoff hockey. So that's my opinion right now, at least. Oh, okay. Yeah, obviously, even if it's not serious, if there's anything at all, there's no point in Hedman playing this game. This game's over. It's 5-0. So why even take the chance? Yeah, Alesh Hemsky just kind of, his career fizzled out. He was a good player for a while, and then he just kind of wasn't as good. So that was, he ended up being out of the NHL. Alesh Hemsky. It was ALES was his name. Yeah, I don't see the Bruins getting past Tampa Bay. They're not good enough. They're not a cup team this year. They're not going to beat Tampa Bay. Yeah, no, the Kings absolutely suck. The Senators suck. The Oilers suck. Yeah, Alesh Hemsky was on the Oilers back in the day. Then he played in Dallas for a while, I believe. But yeah, he was an Oiler for a long time. Tampa Bay and Pittsburgh would be a fantastic playoff matchup. And it could happen. If Pittsburgh gets the final wild card spot in the East, then they're going to play Tampa in the first round, and that would be the matchup, and that would be a fantastic first round series. Tampa Bay would win, but it would be a very nasty physical series. Tampa and Pittsburgh have gone at it this season physically. There's been a lot of fights between those teams. The games have been really chippy and really nasty, and it would be absolutely awesome. Josh Anderson just laid out one of the Tampa Bay Lightning, and now it's a 3-on-2 back the other way. And he goes to the net, doesn't score, though. And now we got a save by Vasilevsky. I'm surprised Anderson hasn't fought yet. I'm surprised no one on Tampa Bay has gone after him. He ran the goalie earlier in the game, even though it wasn't his fault. He still hit the goalie. He just threw a massive check in a 5-0 game, and nobody on Tampa Bay does anything about it. That is soft. If I was in a 5-0 game and somebody was throwing huge checks like that, I'd go right after him. go right after him. I cannot list the top 10 goalies in order off the top of my head. That is something that requires some research and looking at stats and stuff. I definitely cannot list that off the top of my head for sure. That's way too hard. So we're back to 5-on-5. It was 4-on-4 for a while. Obviously with Dubois and Paquette getting penalties, but now we're back to 5-on-5, and no goals have happened. Joseph just took a big hit. Tampa Bay's fourth line is out there. I wonder if they start throwing any checks. Tampa has a physical fourth line. Another nice save there from Vasilevsky. Yeah, the Avs' top line lately has been bad. The Avs in general have been really bad lately. That is a team that's had a really rough last couple of months. They've been headed in the wrong direction for sure. That is a struggling team. No, I would be a hell of a lot more worried about the Penguins missing the playoffs than Washington. Washington ain't missing the playoffs. Pittsburgh has a very real chance of missing the playoffs. That team has a lot of holes in it. They are not nearly as good as the usual Penguins teams have been. Their defense isn't great. The goaltending is very streaky. And Carolina is right on their ass. 1 point behind and absolutely on fire recently. Yeah. Hellebuck plays for the Jets. The Avs absolutely need depth scoring. Washington's at 71 points. Pittsburgh is not. Also, I believe Pittsburgh will have played more games also. Points. Pittsburgh has played 59 games and his 2 points back was 69. Columbus has only played 57 games, so Columbus has 2 games in hand on both Washington and Pittsburgh, and Carolina, who have also played 59 games and have 68 points. So Pittsburgh would not surpass Washington. They would tie Washington in points. However, they would have played more games, which means they would not pass them in the standings. Pittsburgh does not own the tiebreaker because Washington has games in hand. Games in hand is the first tiebreaker in the standings. Washington has more points in less games, or the same number of points in less games. So Washington would remain in second place. Pittsburgh would pass Columbus up to third, but Columbus has 2 games in hand on Pittsburgh, which I guess only one, because one of them is tonight and Columbus is getting blown out. So Columbus would then only have 1 game in hand on Pittsburgh, but they're still a game ahead. Because I believe, does Columbus play again tomorrow night? I think they do. Yes, so I literally have the NHL.com standings up right now on my phone. I am reading off of NHL.com. I'm not wrong. If Pittsburgh and Washington have played the same number of games right now, if Pittsburgh wins tomorrow, they will have played more games. And if Pittsburgh plays tomorrow, then they have played 60 games, and Washington only has played 59. Okay, Washington plays the Kings later tonight. So Washington beats the Kings and goes to 73 points. Then what happens? I mean, the Kings absolutely blow. If Washington loses back-to-back games to Anaheim and LA, I don't see a defending Stanley Cup champion doing that. You are way too high on the Penguins this year. They're not nearly as good as they used to be. They're not even close. The team's got defensive problems. The team has streaky goaltending that can go really good or really bad. The team doesn't even have the scoring that they used to. The Penguins, at best, are a one and done team in the playoffs this year. At best. I mean, Washington won the Stanley Cup last year and basically has the same roster. So I'm a little less worried about the Capitals than I am about the Penguins. Is that going to be a penalty on the Lightning? What a pointless penalty call. No, I have no idea who Bobby Granquist is. I've never heard of him. Columbus has games in hand. They're fine. They're 5-1 in their last 6 games. Hey, Columbus plays Montreal tomorrow night. Montreal's played like garbage their last few games. They've lost 3 in a row. They're only 4-4-2. Wonder if Montreal has to be worried about their playoff spot. They're at 69 points as well, and Carolina is right on their ass. Carolina is making this whole thing in the East really interesting. 8-2 in their last 10 games. They've won 3 in a row. They play the Rangers tomorrow night. The Rangers aren't very good. Carolina is making this really interesting. It'd be something if they get into the playoffs. That'd actually be really good for them to break the longest playoff drought in the league. But someone's got to go. And if someone in the East is going to go, it's going to be Pittsburgh or Montreal that gets knocked out for Carolina. The top 3 teams in each division, I'm calling it right now, the top 3 teams in each division will finish as the top 3 teams in each division in the Eastern Conference. I'm calling that right now. I don't know what order, but those will be the top 3 teams. Your 3 teams in the Metro will be the Islanders, Capitals, and Blue Jackets. Your top 3 teams in the Atlantic will be Tampa Bay, Boston, and Toronto. The wild card spots are what's up for grabs. You have 3 teams fighting for 2 spots. Pittsburgh, Montreal, and now Carolina coming out of nowhere to be right there. Right there. They're back on the positive goal differential side. That's a really good sign. Means they're keeping the puck out of their own net. Columbus is on a 4-minute power play, and they still can't even control the puck, never mind score a goal. This has been a shit game for the Blue Jackets for sure. But I guess if you're going to have a shit game, you might as well do it against Tampa Bay. And when your backup goalie's in net and just waste your backups time. And then they come back tomorrow night against Montreal with Bobrovsky. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if Columbus wins tomorrow night 5-2 or something like that over Montreal. Pittsburgh's got New Jersey tomorrow night. And if I remember correctly, Pittsburgh thought they were going to have an easy first game back from the All-Star break and then got doubled up by New Jersey 6-3. So that ain't no guaranteed win for the Penguins. In New Jersey have won 2 games in a row, and they thrashed Buffalo last night 4-1. So New Jersey ain't no pushover, even though they're not good. That'd be funny if Pittsburgh loses that. I will be laughing if Pittsburgh loses that. Nashville is, they're Nashville. They're freaking good. Second place in the Central Division, 73 points, 3 points behind the Winnipeg Jets. However, everyone has games in hand on Nashville because they've already played 61 games, but they are a very, very good team and certainly a big-time threat come playoff time. The Predators are not a team to be messed with at all. That's going to, whoever they play in the first round, whether it's St. Louis or Dallas, it looks like it's probably going to be St. Louis now. That is going to be one hell of a series that I will be watching every second of. That will be one hell of a series, Nashville and St. Louis. Those teams don't like each other. There's a strong rivalry there, and they're both playing really good hockey. Washington. If I had money to gamble right now, I would bet you $100 that Washington wins tonight. If I would go to the sports book right now and put $100 on the Capitals tonight, they're gonna beat LA, and they're gonna solidify themselves in second place in the Metro. They'll have 73 points after tonight, and even if Pittsburgh does win tomorrow, they'll only be at 71. And then if Columbus beats Montreal tomorrow, Columbus goes to 71 and have a game in hand on Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh stays right where they are in the wild card spot. Yes, everything about the Tampa Bay Lightning are good. There is not a single glaring weakness in this Tampa Bay Lightning team. Their defense is phenomenal. Their offense is out of this world. They have one of, if not the best goaltender in the league in Andrei Vasilevsky. They are unbelievable. Domingue is a very good backup goaltender, and they even have that part figured out. This team is an absolute, juggernaut in the NHL, and they're going to be extremely difficult to beat. However, Tampa Bay does have a recent history of not doing great in the playoffs. However, this team is uber talented. Now we got Sedlak and Paquette going at it. And Sedlak and yelling at the ref. Why are you yelling at the ref? Why don't you just fight the guy if you're pissed off about something? But these players are a bunch of pussies now. No, this is the best Tampa team of the last few years. This team is far and away better than any of those teams. Andrei Vasilevsky is a better goalie than Ben Bishop. Andrei Vasilevsky continues to get better, which makes him better than he was the last few years as starter. This is Tampa's best team. This is Tampa's best team, maybe ever. This might be the best Lightning team ever. They had some really, really good teams back in the heyday of Vinny LeCavalier and Brad Richards and Marty St. Louis and those mid-2000s teams. Obviously, the Stanley Cup team in 2004 was a fantastic team. But this might be Tampa's best team ever in franchise history. They are unreal this year. Kucherov literally already at 100 points, 99. Almost got to 100 tonight. Braden Point is going to get to 100. He has 77 now, I believe. Stamkos is at 72 points, I want to say. He might get to 100. This team is ridiculous. No, this is definitely not the worst Oilers team ever. The Oilers have had some awful teams. This is not the worst ever. However, this Oilers team is very bad and a complete joke. Yeah, Boston keeps winning when I don't watch, so I will not be watching the Bruins Sharks games tonight because whenever I don't watch the Bruins, they win. So I'm going to keep not watching, especially their West Coast games, their late West Coast games. I'm not going to stay up and lose sleep over that. It's bad luck. If I watch, got to keep not watching, and it's good luck. I did a video on the Kane celebration a while ago, back when Brian Burke was complaining about it. So go back and watch that. Just go to my channel and search Carolina Hurricanes, and it will be one of the first videos that comes up. And you'll get my opinion on the Carolina Hurricanes celebration. 150 left. I mean, no one's really done anything the last few minutes because the game's over. And Columbus scores to ruin the shutout. 5-1. Useless goal from Lucas Sedlak. That's a goal. Just ruined Vasilevsky's shutout. That was the S word. That was the S word that I wasn't going to say, shutout, but I didn't want to jinx him, but now it doesn't matter. He gave it up anyway. Yeah, Philly's all done. I have no idea why people are saying that Philly's still in the playoff hunt or could come back and make the playoffs. Philly is 6 points out of a playoff spot. Who are they going to knock out? Who is Philadelphia going to knock out? They're done. Philly is done. I don't care how good Carter Hart is. It's too little, too late. They're done. They've had a nice little run here. They've had a much better last month and a half than they did, obviously, the beginning of the season. But they're not making the playoffs. Neither are the Chicago Blackhawks. Neither are any other team that, all these teams that people that are way out of it that people are saying are going to come back. St. Louis came back. They're the team that did it. You're not going to get two other teams pull off the same thing. St. Louis is the team that pulled it off. Philly's not going to. Chicago's not going to. That's just the way it is. Now Columbus is literally might make this 5-2. Tampa's completely done with this game. Like they've pretty much stopped playing, it seems. Columbus is still pushing a little bit here. They might make this 5-2. That would not be a representative score of how this game has gone. And now we've got a little pushing and shoving going on. No one else on Columbus wants anything to do with it. Put Josh Anderson on the ice so he can fight. Somebody fight Josh Anderson. Look at nobody does anything after the whistle. What a joke. It's 5-1. What are you, afraid to take a penalty? What an absolute joke. Back when hockey was good, that would have turned into a full 5-on-5 melee right there. That would have been full 5-on-5 right there. Probably gotten a couple of good fights out of it. But now everyone wants to bake cookies and eat cupcakes together, and they're a bunch of wuss bags now. Oh, it's getting to that point. It's getting to the point where it's no different than the NBA or soccer. It's getting close. Pretty soon it will be no checking, and then I'll stop watching hockey. Final 3 seconds of the game. And that's it. So 5-1 win for Tampa Bay. It's just too bad that Vasilevsky got his shutout broken, but nonetheless, great game for the Tampa Bay Lightning. They continue to just keep on rolling through the NHL. Columbus, they just, I mean, this was a dud of a game for them. But with that, that's pretty much the end because I'm tired and this game is over. So next stream is supposed to be the Stadium Series game on Saturday night. Pittsburgh versus Philadelphia, Battle of Pennsylvania, huge outdoor game, huge rivalry game. Should be a lot of fun. I know I did Pittsburgh versus Philadelphia not last week, not long ago, but I'm going to do them again because that's a really fun matchup usually, and hopefully there's some real nastiness between those teams. With that, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Really means a lot. If you're not yet a subscriber to this channel, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button. Also, if you enjoy this stream, give it a thumbs up and hit that like button. That really helps out a lot with the channel. Thank you guys again for all the support. No, I have not tried virtual reality hockey. I haven't done virtual reality anything, so I guess I'll have to check that out sometime. But thank you guys so much. I'm going to bed now, and hopefully see you guys at the next stream and on videos throughout this channel. Yeah, Kucherov had 5 points tonight. That Senators-Hawks game was ridiculous. I went on a huge rant when it was 5-4 after the first period. I guess nobody wanted to play defense. But Hawks, I assume, are winning 7-5. But anyway, I'm going to end it now. Thank you guys again, and see you guys next time.